Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, this is Rob Cedeno, joined by my co-host.
Daddy, it's your boy Andy Vivians. That's Bivians for I am the one true Daddy of Vivians INC. And listen, this podcast ages like fine wine. Because tonight, we're on episode 49. Whoa, Daddy.
That sounded like that could have been a 69 one, but that worked. That worked.
Ooh,
So today, as you guys saw on social media, we are joined by Brent, who was here last week. Welcome back again. And we got Seany D in the house.
Boo! What up?
So for those who don't know, we are going to be talking about our top 5 horror films in our opinion. And I'm from the discussion that we had prior to hitting record, it seems like it's going to be an interesting one.
Listen, you can't find out what scary movie is without a bowl of popcorn. So I'm just saying, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm predicting.
I should have got that too.
I'm predicting a couple of verbal brawls on this in this one at some point.
Possibly. Seany G, Brent, how have you guys been?
Been good, man.
Living the dream, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Andy, you had any shows this week?
I did. I helped out with Outlaw in Queens, which was a lot of fun. I would love to do that again. So much fun. But yeah, I was there Thursday and then just pretty much chilling the rest of the week.
Word. Very nice.
Where were you for the birthday party yesterday, bro?
Training.
I wasn't invited.
One, I did not control the invitations.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Damn, under the bus.
Listen.
I kind of figured, but you know.
And I'm surprised, and honestly, I'm surprised when I was told that Andy was invited because pretty much everyone else that was invited either had kids
That's what I
or were family. Yeah. Yeah, I don't control a lot of things nowadays.
Yeah, join the club.
Yeah. The two guys engaged, ready to get married.
Yeah, you guys are making this better and better every week for me.
I know you guys want in, Andy. You want this life, right? You want this life.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are doing. I listened to last week, heard your comments. I've had private conversations with both of you guys, and man, you guys are making it sound like this is the worst fucking thing you've ever endured in your life.
Send help! We're being held hostage.
You guys don't know. Every night I go to bed, there's a gun next to me, pointed in my direction.
Yeah, you better
kidding.
You better not dream about.
Hey, listen. Sarah doesn't listen to this podcast. I don't know if Taylor does, but Sarah doesn't, so I'm good.
I'm good too. Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry.
I'll tell Gina.
All right, yo, Cheech, chill out over there, Cheech.
Sorry, Chong.
I'll tell Gina to send Sarah and Taylor private text that they need. How awesome the episode is, especially the opening.
Oh, it's the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, just skip ahead. Just skip ahead 5 minutes. Anyway, what's going on in the news, Rob?
This week was Banks' second birthday, so that was cool. He got spoiled. He has this giant ass car that's right next to me that I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Teach him to drive.
No, it's like.
Oh, what? He got a big wheels?
Like a big wheels without. That's not battery powered.
That's like the old school, like Flintstone.
Oh, it's like Fred Flintstone. You got to do it with your feet.
Yeah, but it's like huge.
It's like a truck version, right?
Yeah, it's like a blue truck with a yellow like convertible top.
And you know what's hilarious about that? You know what's hilarious about that is Taylor's dad pulled it out, and he just sat in that car for mad long, and like Taylor's trying to get him to open the rest of the presents. He was like ignoring everything and just chilling in that fucking truck.
I had to like grab it and like hide it behind a table, and he didn't notice at first, and then when he noticed it was gone, he was like, "Where's my car?"
Yeah, dude, where's my car?
And then my father decided to get his hand ran over by a what's it called? Like a steamroller.
What?
Yeah.
Chubbs Peterson?
So his hand.
It's made of
So
wood, real sturdy.
so apparently his like thumb is fucked and his like pointer finger's pretty fucked, and he had to go get surgery, and like we don't know how bad it
How
is.
does that happen?
He's a stubborn Dominican that. Huh?
Was he laying in the road while they were fixing the street?
I have no idea. It was like he was in the he works in a shop now. So it might have been a smaller version of a steamroller, but still. But he's being a stubborn Dominican, and he's not really telling me what happened in detail. So he's just like, everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it.
He's embarrassed.
He might be sad, might be embarrassed. I don't know. But so, did you guys see that Bitcoin hit 67,000 this week, and Ethereum hit its all-time high, and Shiba, which I've shit on a lot of times, has like skyrocketed through the roof, and apparently is getting listed on Robinhood tomorrow.
Oh wow! I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
That's big.
yeah. I think that's why it's been pumping the last week or so. I think it's on the news that was happening. 67, baby. I mean, it fell back down to 59, so now it's dancing back. It's way back up. But Ethereum hit its all-time high. Man, get ready. It's getting early. This is the start. This is only lap 1.
It's about to be bigger and bigger and bigger.
Bigger and better.
Yo, daddy.
I'm not mad about it.
Me either. Sean, I know that we discussed this. Dune came out this week. Did you go see it?
No, Gina and I are going to go see it next week. We're actually we're going to go see it in IMAX next week.
Nice.
I saw a trailer for it last night when I took Griffin to see Venom 2, and I kind of decided, I've seen the trailers on TV, then I saw the trailer in the movie theater, and I kind of decided to the adult big screen and see it in IMAX next week.
What?
Every week, at least somebody has to have robot voice.
Yeah, everybody. One time.
No one could have it as bad as we did, though.
We could make out what you were saying, though, Sean.
Have any of you guys ever seen the original one?
A long time ago.
I started watching it, and I didn't fall asleep because it was boring. It was just really late. So I'm gonna go back and finish watching it. Gina, saw it years and years and years ago, and then when it got announced that they were remaking it, she went back and watched the original. It's on HBO Plus or whatever the hell it's called right now. And she fucking hates it. She thinks it's like the worst movie ever.
That's funny.
It just doesn't hold up apparently. I started watching it, like I said, I probably made it about a half hour in and fell asleep, and not much happened in that time period. I didn't hate it. I didn't feel about it the way she feels about it now, apparently. But I'm gonna have to go back and finish that up at some point this week, maybe even tonight when we get off this. If we're not watching something else we're heavily invested in right now.
What? So Andy, you put this on our news list. I didn't see this. Mel Gibson to star in John Wick TV series?
Yeah, apparently this is John Wick TV series coming out, and he is going to be, I believe, one of the assassins.
Oh, interesting.
I read that. Right?
I heard a while back that they were going to do a show based on like the hotel. It's called the Continental or something. I didn't hear nothing about Mel Gibson being in it.
Yeah, I love the movie. So like,
yeah, me too.
I haven't seen the most recent one yet.
Oh,
I still have not seen any of them.
They're fun.
You're out.
I got them. I got the first 2 on DVD if you want to borrow them.
I think they're all on one of the streaming services we have.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, everything's on streaming nowadays.
Yeah.
In
case you can't find it, I got you.
Word.
Right.
This is like another things that everybody hyped up, and I just ignored it because that's how I am when everybody flips out about stuff. And now that all the dust has seemed to have settled with these movies, I'll probably go check them out sooner than later.
I mean, I will say I like the movies. They are maybe slightly overrated because I feel like there's not like anything necessarily like innovative about them more than any other action movies. Just he fucks a bunch of people up, but it's still cool to watch people get fucked up. So.
Yeah. Did you guys see? I thought this was a cool story. We shared this on our social stories. Vin Diesel walked Paul Walker's daughter down the aisle.
I
Thought that
did
was
see
kind
that.
of a
So,
heartfelt
it's
story.
very, very heartfelt, very sweet, and
Yeah.
too bad it wasn't The Rock, the Dwayne, as
Did a run
Janhausen
in.
would say.
Should have did a run in rock. Did a run in rock bottom.
What's up?
Vin Diesel.
What's up with that? Why do they hate each other so much?
Oh, I have no idea.
I've seen articles like the headlines. It's like Rock explains his beef with Vin Diesel, but I never care enough to click on them and read them. I think it
Yeah,
has
same
something
here.
to do.
Exactly.
I think it has something to do with like Rock being so busy that he's like not available to shoot more Fast and Furious movies, and that's why they had to like do the spin-off or whatever.
Don't need to. There's like fucking 27 of them.
Apparently, the next one's the last one. That's what I heard.
No, they're doing 2 more.
Oh,
10
2
and
more.
11.
Oh, okay.
And then who knows? They
Easy.
always say it's the last one. If it makes a bunch of money, they'll make more. Same
That's
thing with
true.
the Purge. This last
I
Purge was
have
supposed to be the
not-
last one, and then the others are going to make more.
I haven't seen the most recent Purge.
Me neither.
I
I haven't seen the last. I've only seen the first 2 actually.
I think I've seen There's 4. That's the 4th one, right?
No, 5. There's 5. One of them's a prequel though.
Oh, then I saw the 3rd up to 3.
I haven't seen a fast movie since Tokyo Drift. I just gave up after that one.
Oh, Fast and Furious.
They're
I've seen
fine
all
for
of
what
them.
they are, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you're not messing too much.
Tokyo
Yeah.
Drift is actually about a race.
Remember, it used to just be about race. Now it's like space and shit. But
Right?
They
this
used
next
to just
story
be
we
stealing DVD players. Now they're saving the world.
yeah, true. This next story we just added Tyson versus Paul. Is that a thing? Is that confirmed?
It's
Someone die. Someone gonna die, and it's gonna be Paul, and Tyson is gonna knock him.
Unless it's like Mayweather
I
and
hope
Mayweather
so.
carries the fight.
But Tyson's not a fighter like Mayweather. Tyson's
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Andy, because other people should have knocked this motherfucker out and his brother on top of it, but they haven't.
True.
It's true.
How
Floyd
much-
is understandable though. Floyd is a money guy, so of course he's gonna let it like last and go the distance because
Listen,
Yeah.
and you're right. My faith, for the most part, is in Tyson. That he's still the fighter at his core, but there's still that little part of me that's just
Tyson will kill.
Well, and to that point, like Mayweather, even though Mayweather probably could have knocked him out and just didn't because he was toying with him, he's not. Mayweather's not really a knockout guy. Where Tyson, like, he just tries to kill you, like right
true.
away. So like,
good
Also,
point. Good.
There's
Good
those
point.
pictures where Mayweather did knock him out.
Yeah, and he literally carried him.
So Tyson's not gonna do that. Tyson's a different type of crazy.
Well, he has said that he didn't like the person he was when he was fighting, so he might have gotten a little soft. He could probably still swing for, swinging to death, but I saw an interview. He was like, "I hated the person I was when I was fighting. I don't like being that person anymore."
I feel like
Well,
he's still-
let's hope he figures out a way to go back into some of that mindset, because I want to see this asshole and his brother both fall off the face of the earth. And to segue a little bit on something completely unrelated, but I really hope this doesn't turn into like, not really a segue, but more of a lame comparison. I hope that this supposed Tyson, Jake, or Logan, whatever, they're both asshole fights, doesn't look like a Jericho Junior Dos Santos pull apart on WTV.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that.
all I know is that if Logan Paul wins, I'm gonna say this is ludicrous.
my back is broken.
It was
Spinal.
It was spinal.
Yeah, I swear, if he knocks out Tyson, which is never gonna happen, but if he does, I'm never watching boxing ever again. The shit is
I
fixed.
hope you didn't just jinx the entire world by saying that.
I guess we'll find
I'm
out.
just saying. Just saying.
All right.
Knock on wood, bro.
we got two more news stories. We could hit them up real quick. One, the Eternals, it has been getting pretty good reviews, early reviews so far.
You gonna talk
Everything
about
I'm
the
reading.
spoiler?
No spoiler. I didn't see any
Okay.
spoilers.
Okay.
No. All I've heard is that it's really good. So, like, all the reviews I've seen is good, and that it changes the entire MCU, and that don't spoil it. I guess it's gonna be like Endgame, like how they were doing like a campaign for Endgame, like don't spoil it, don't spoil it. They're doing that for this movie, so it has to be
You know
big.
what's funny about that though? I saw the social media post you made about that. Like Disney saying don't spoil it. And you know what that made me do? Go look up what the spoiler was.
Aww.
Well,
So you ruined it.
I wouldn't
You
have
ruined
did
it for
if I
yourself?
think about it. Yeah, I know what the end credit scene is.
Oh,
I don't know
okay,
anything else, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like, hey son, I know you just turned 18, but don't go to that club that says 18 plus only.
Don't do it. But I got a fake ID though.
Well, I'm excited for that. So I'm gonna go out and see that one.
Yeah.
So the last news story.
That's what we should do. We should or watch along for. Go see Eternals in the theater and do a podcast in the movie theater. They'll love that. The people watching the movie with us.
Oh yeah.
Do a watch along, talk about it the entire time we're watching.
And now this is when he walks in. Whoa.
All right. So last news story is Hayden Christensen is coming back as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader for the Ahsoka Disney Plus series. I'm seeing this all over, so it's got to be a pretty big story. People are saying that maybe they could fix some plot holes from the first 3 movies, maybe get a little deeper in Anakin's, why he kind of leaned toward the dark side, all that stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm excited to see him come back. And to see him be a part of that and that'd be cool if they actually do, if they are able to close certain things. It's funny, apparently at Comic-Con they mentioned that when he was there, and he lit up one of the buildings red with the Sith.
Oh,
And
that's
I
cool.
didn't realize it, which was pretty dope. So I mean, I've seen what they did with like Mark Hamill coming back and like his involvement and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
I mean, I kind of feel 2 different ways about this. Like I love Revenge of the Sith. It was one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I never thought Hayden Christensen did a good job. Thought his acting was a little, not very favorable for the most part, but the story is fantastic. But I do like the continuity of having the same actors reprise their roles. So we'll see how it goes.
Word.
Nothing to add from me too. I'm not pretty casual Star Wars fan, and I haven't even watched The Mandalorian yet, so I don't even know who this Ashoka person is. Well, I know she's played by Rosario Dawson, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of her, but yeah, I'll catch up on it eventually. But yeah, like Sean said, I didn't really care about Christensen one way or the other. Really, I don't really care if he's coming back. It's fine.
Word. All right. So one last question before we end out the news section. Andy, have you watched any Office?
Got him.
I have seen a couple episodes. One on a 2-day binge. Watched a couple episodes.
And you only watched a couple?
I mean, I had other stuff I needed to do, but I did watch a fair amount. And I do. I'm gonna say it now before we get there.
Rob looks
like
unconvinced.
this on-off love story. I do like it.
I
So that's the only thing that's keeping me like.
Andy, you have less than 2 months to watch basically 7.5 seasons.
Yep.
I was still a regular part of this thing when the challenge was it. That was 10 months ago.
Bro, I couldn't get into it. I tried. I couldn't get into it. But now I got a little flow.
We've been in a pandemic. We've been in a pandemic.
What does that tell you, though? I couldn't get into it, even in a pandemic when I had nothing to do.
We warned you from the get-go that the first couple seasons was gonna be a little, you got to push yourself a little bit, but apparently, Mr. BI doesn't like to apply himself.
Bro,
We
I
warned you.
Bro, I
We
had to use myself off the cliff to watch the third episode.
Oh my
We
goodness.
forewarned you, bro. You don't apply yourself, man. This
Nah,
is your
man.
podcast.
Like a rocket bootstraps or something to get through that.
Nah, we warned you, man.
I had the warning. I still couldn't get through it.
Oh, Andy.
You don't apply yourself, bro. And now
I
this is your
applied.
podcast. This is
I
your show.
applied.
We are coming down to the wire, and you are not prepared for your own shit.
What I do best. Actually, that makes it even better.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, Andy, you have less than 2 months. You got a
This is
lot.
the face that like a disappointed
You gotta-
dad. looks
I
at his
feel like we have to test him to see if he's actually watched it when we do the episode. We have to write questions down about
Office
things
trivia.
like office trivia
Yeah.
and see how well he does. Does anyone have the game Office Trivia?
I think Sean does.
It's not. I have an office trivia type game that. Here, listen, guys. This is easy. We just throw out some obscure quotes. And we don't need to know fucking trivia game. We throw out some.
No, I
obscure
think it'd be
quotes.
fun to do trivia actually, because then it would quiz him for see if he's actually watched it, and then it could trigger memories for us.
All that game is going to do is validate and like feed our own egos.
No, but we'll be
Because-
asking the questions to him.
Okay.
Yeah,
was
we
gonna say
won't.
that
We
was-
won't be playing. We'll ask
I'm
the
down.
questions to him.
I'm down. No.
All right.
Office.
All right, now he's taking it as a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's down to go down.
We have to
China-
challenge him.
Damn. Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
White. Yeah.
The results of this are going to be no, daddy.
Office sex romance. Yeah. We're
Sex.
not
romance.
talking about
With
that.
who?
We're
With
talking
which
about
couple?
office sex.
With who?
Which couple? Romance of which couple, huh?
The Steve Carell's character. and
Steve
his-
Carell. Steve
mean-
Carell.
Which row?
I mean, you know what I meant.
Boo this man.
Boo.
Keep going. I love it. Keep going.
All right.
What a heel.
Let's do this. Let's jump into the movies. So obviously, this is our top 5 scary movies in
That's like
our
20. Sorry.
opinion, or top 20 between the 4 of us, but top 5 between in our opinion.
Individually.
Who wants to start, and what order should we go in?
Yeah, you probably should have discussed that before we started recording.
No, it's okay.
That's why we're
It's a disaster.
You know what? Why doesn't Brent go first since it was his idea?
facts.
Well, I was gonna say let Sean kick it off since I was here last week and Sean hasn't been on in a while.
Okay. So
So
Sean
let
goes
Sean
first.
go, then I'll go, and then you guys decide who you want to go.
All right, rock,
Oh,
paper,
man.
scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock,
we going,
paper,
Brent?
shoot. Rock, paper, scissors. Says shoot.
Brent, this
All
is
right.
your idea.
I go
and,
third. Andy goes last.
You want to defer to me, Sean? You want me to go first?
Yes, sir. Are we going to start with honorable mentions or start with the top 5?
Top.
Honorable mentions go last.
Yeah.
Before we start this, I would just like to say that I'm very happy that this is the first top anything that we've done on the Disaster Party podcast that I'm actually going to get through. Just want to throw that out there.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Because one time I was a robot. One time I got kicked off because I got frozen. Another time I had to literally switch from the laptop to the iPad. So it's the first
But
one.
you didn't know that was going to happen then. You don't know that's going to happen now. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know for a fact because we're on episode
Um,
49 and I'm feeling fine. Whoa, daddy. Let's go.
I'm hoping Sean lasts the whole time because on the top 10 wrestlers episode, his battery died and he left early.
I'm plugged in, baby.
I
I'm
thought
plugged in.
I thought he left because he was disgusted that Rob's number 1 was Kenny Omega, but that's a whole nother story.
Nah, he
Hey,
was saying
tomato, tomato.
honest.
All right,
Okay.
Brent. If you want to start out, maybe since this was your idea, kind of explaining what was your idea for the top 5 and kind of like maybe what got your list going? Like, did you go by critics? Did you go by fan score? Did you go by personal experience?
Yeah, basically just personal experience. These are just. I'm not even necessarily these are the top 5 best horror movies of all time. They're just the 5 that I like watching the most. I have the most
Okay.
fun watching because to me, watching horror movies is all about having fun, and that's why I like when you emphasize in our opinion because some people ain't gonna like some of these movies. But to start to kick it off though, number 5 on my top 5, it is an adaptation of a story by the man some people say is the master of horror, the master of the macabre, Stephen King. And it is. And I got visual age for those who remember from the video game episode, because I still got DVDs because I'm old school. My number 5 is Pet Cemetery.
Nice.
Oh,
I'm assuming the original.
Oh yeah, the remake is trash. Hated that remake.
That's a fact.
So and this is like the one movie in my top 5 too, where like I don't even know if I can really explain why I like this movie so much. I just like I love the story. I like the like supernatural element. The whole for those who haven't seen it, it's about like a Indian burial ground where if something or someone dies and you bury it there, it might not stay dead for too long. And the story's really about like grief, like what grief can drive you to do. And I love Fred Gwynn in this movie. He had a great performance. I love Fred Gwynn, for those who know who Fred Gwynn is. Herman Munster. And also the judge from My Cousin Vinny, probably his best role ever. And you know, so it's probably my favorite Stephen King adaptation.
Cool.
And he's gonna pop up a lot on this list.
yeah.
Awesome. I did enjoy Pet Cemetery for sure. I did forgot about that, honestly. It's not on my list or honorable mentions, but I did enjoy that when I watched it the last time. Sean,
Oh, just jumping in like that, huh?
what do you mean?
All right. My number 5.
Unless you had
This
more to
is
say,
actually-
Brent, I'm sorry.
No, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Oh, okay.
Let's
No,
keep it rolling, baby. Let's keep it rolling. We got
All right,
we got a lot to get through.
Yeah, right. My number 5 is a sequel, actually, by Rob Zombie, Devil's Rejects.
Oh, I thought you were
This
about to
is
say
a sequel
Halloween
to-
too. I was about to stab you.
No. But this was the sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, and while I don't hate House of a Thousand Corpses, these two movies are very, very different movies. House of a Thousand Corpses was more so an over-the-top kind of 80s style, twisted Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of movie. This one, Devil's Rejects, completely different movie. This movie was brutal. This movie was gritty. I love the characters in this movie. Like these people, the Firefly family, they don't give a shit about anybody. And it's like a fucking manhunt. And it's just, Otis, I fucking love that guy. Like if I could find a way to turn Otis into like a professional wrestler, that'll be incredible.
Yo, can I say something about Otis real quick? Because I watched these movies recently. I wanted to watch the new one, The Three from Hell. So I rewatched.
I have not seen that one yet either.
I liked it. It was pretty good. But the actor who plays Otis reminds me of Will Forte. And like I can only picture.
What?
Look at his face and the way he talks. Some of the things he says is like I can see Will Forte playing that character, and it makes me look at the character completely different.
How the fuck does Otis remind you of MacGruber?
MacGruber!
Getting in and out of super tricky situations, MacGruber.
But no, like this movie is just brutal, and it's hard to say. It's kind of weird. It's like I don't know whether to classify this as like a horror movie movie or like a serial killer movie. I guess that could be horror, whatever.
I was almost going to say that
these people are just brutal.
I was almost going to say that it's kind of like you said. The first one is definitely horror. It's kind of like classic, like homage to, like you said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one's more like almost like a crime movie. I mean, it's definitely got like scary elements to it, but yeah, it's kind of almost like a natural born killers kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's just it's the brutality of it, and the fact that these people just are just like evil at the core. They don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. But at the same time, there's this weird like these people don't care and they're evil, but they're family and they kind of like really love each other and care about each other in this really weird, like twisted way. And there's something sweet and beautiful about that. But anyway, like I like all of Rob Zombie's. I like most of Rob Zombie's movies. I think he has a way of really setting a mood with his movies. But anyway, so yeah, Devil's Rejects my top 5, or my number 5 of the top 5.
Nice. My list is pretty ridiculous, especially the first 2 picks. So
Great to hear.
number 5, it came out in 1978. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh my god!
Can I just say, this movie I have seen more times than I could probably remember. This is the cover. And it is
pirates?
Yeah. This is such a B horror film that it's so bad that it's almost great. And just seeing these like plastic tomatoes like rolling through cities and just eating people and shit, and just I don't know if you guys realize or remember that there was an actual cartoon too. It was like an animated series, like a 2
I do
season.
remember that, yeah.
Oh
It was
man,
like a Saturday morning cartoon.
yes. Oh, I mean,
That's so weird. Now I think of it, why would they pick that of all things to make it to a cartoon?
so I have to just say that that's my number 5 because I just remember just like even as a kid, I just saw how ridiculous these movies were that I was like, this is so great, it's bad. It's so bad, it's great.
You know, I gotta say, before we came on, like before we started going live, recording, whatever, Rob said that he was gonna have some shit on here that was just gonna be off the wall. Nobody else is gonna have on their list, or people are just gonna shit on him for.
Not disappointed at all.
You hit the nail on the head.
You came through, bro.
I came through. That's one.
I love it.
Golf clap.
So have you guys seen that? Have you seen it?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I think I might have seen it a really long time ago. I don't really remember it. Now I kind of want to go watch it.
It's so bad.
That was something I said before we started recording. I was like, I can't wait to get some like crazy shit so I can go back and watch it later.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, your turn.
I'm gonna check if it's streaming on anything right now.
I'll look.
For mine, it's my 5th pick is a little funny. It's not a repeat, but it is. I feel I couldn't choose when I was thinking about this because I love both equally. But my number 5 is a Rob Zombie film, and it's House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
All right.
I love that movie. I love the feel that it was like a Texas Chainsaw feel to it. You didn't really know like who was killing who or like what like the main antagonists were until you got like halfway through the movie. Then you see everybody down in the cellar. You see Dr. Satan is an actual person and he's like working on somebody who's like
was he though? Like what the hell was that?
I mean, he was a person thing-ish, but yeah, I loved Devil's Rejects too, and 3 from Hell was really good too, but House of a Thousand Corpses, I'll never forget Chris Hardwick jumping out, Dr. Satan, hey, Dr. Satan!
Yeah, and then half hour later, he's a fish man.
No, that's Rainn Wilson.
Oh, my bad. You're right. You're right.
And
You're right.
actually,
yeah.
My bad.
it's funny too because this is one of those movies that I hated it the first time I saw it, but
And
the
I
more
remember
times
that
I
'cause we
watched
saw
it,
it in the theater together.
yeah, and I
We saw
hated it. I was like, "What was that shit?" And when I watched it more later on, I kind of started to appreciate it more. And what's funny is the first time we saw it, I didn't know who Rainn Wilson was. I didn't watch The Office or anything. I don't even
None
know.
of
Was that
us-
even
no,
before? That
it
before
was
The
before
Office,
The
probably, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like then when I watched it later, I was like, oh shit, it's Dwight Schrute. He's getting turned into a fish man.
It's funny too if you guys own the DVD and just let the DVD play on the menu screen for a while. Captain Spaulding just like talks shit for like a good like half hour.
Hit
Yeah,
play,
I
you
remember that.
dumbass, or something.
I used to have it. I remember that. Yep.
I'm gonna sit
R.I.P. R.I.P. Sid Haig, by the way.
right.
Oh, Brent.
What?
Killer Tomatoes is on Tubi
Yeah, I just looked it
Pluto.
up. It's on everything.
and Amazon.
It must
Yeah.
be in the public domain.
Tubi.
Yo, don't sleep on. I think I'm the only one that got that, Sean. But don't sleep on Tubi. Tubi has some really good B movies on there.
It does.
And it's
It has
free.
some good like old TV shows too.
Yeah,
All right.
it's better than Crackle, that's for sure.
Oh, Crackle's so
Crackle
worse.
sucks ass.
It's back
Sucks
to you.
ass.
Back to you, Brent.
All right, number 4, right?
Number 4.
My number 4 movie. This went over visual aid. I used to have the DVD. I don't know what happened to it. I think I let someone borrow it. Never got it back.
Eric.
But it probably. But it is Child's Play, the original Child's Play.
Oh, okay.
I love Chucky. And this obviously is his introduction. This was the first one where, before Chucky started getting a little too funny, cracking jokes and stuff. And he was pretty just sadistic and, slitting throats and stabbing people. And I like this movie. I like the way it's shot, the point of view shots where you see the little guy running around, how the movie kind of tricks you a little bit at first, maybe like thinking, is this little kid actually killing people or like what's going on? But yeah, it's obviously Chucky's one of the legendary horror icons, and this is his introduction and my number 4 horror movie.
Nice.
All right.
I agree with everything you just said.
Yep.
Child's Play is awesome.
I hate the new one.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Which one?
The new one, the brand new one that just came out.
Oh, the remake with like the Buddy doll.
Yeah.
Wait, was
Not
that the
TV
Aubrey
show.
Plaza one?
April Ludgate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one wasn't great.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I didn't like how they removed like the voodoo element and it was just like malfunctioning AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then
I
it's
thought
like,
that was kind of cool, just because
That's-
but it almost
that-
made me feel bad for the doll because it was just a doll that was messing up. Like he doesn't know any better.
he
That's-
really
yeah.
didn't.
Or like Chucky is like actually like an evil person that transferred his soul into the doll and he's killing people just because he likes to because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then you're saying you feel bad for a machine that's murdering people.
I know, but
And
there's actually a part in the movie where the doll's like they're trying to stop it. He's like, "No, Andy, like why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to cry."
Yeah, they made the
Poor
doll
Chucky.
come off so innocent and like
Yeah,
sweet.
poor Chucky. Like he's just trying to be your friend.
Yeah.
But in real life, AI is way scarier than voodoo.
That is true. That is true.
And it could happen too. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't live in New Orleans, so I'm not worried about the voodoo.
All right, Sean. Numero 4.
All right. So you guys might argue with this from a technicality standpoint. But thinking about this, and I could not narrow it down to just one. So I'm going to pick a franchise here.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole franchise.
Okay.
Minus the most recent one.
Yeah, that remake, terrible. Just no good. No bueno.
You can minus
fucking-
a few of them, in my opinion, but I'll circle to that.
Very true. Very true. But for the most part, I fucking love Freddy Krueger. He's like, in terms of just a character, he's probably my favorite horror character ever. Like, it's a creative concept as far as I'm concerned. It's a scary concept. I mean, Jesus Christ, imagine. Sorry if you have to edit it out. No offense to anybody. Imagine just going to sleep and you get murdered in your fucking nightmares, man. What the hell, bro? Like that's
Nothing you can
fucked up.
do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. But then, like the kills themselves are always creative, and then, like, yeah, as the franchise went on, it got kind of more hokier. But with the hokiness, like, there's like different hokey. I feel like different kinds of hokiness. I feel like where it gets like dumb and cheesy. But I feel like the hokiness of Freddy Krueger was like entertaining in the way he talks shit. You know what I'm saying? And I guess, like, you know, like I said, the kills are creative. It's a fucked up concept. And if I have to narrow it down to just like one or two movies, the original, obviously, of course. I probably saw that way too young. I was definitely scared to go to bed. I was scared to get like sucked into my bed and spit out like in blood on my ceiling at night. But the original and probably number 3, the Dream Warriors, probably my 2 favorite ones.
Absolutely. Well, I'll save my comments because, well, you know.
Word.
Fair.
All right, you guys ready for my number 4?
Tremors.
1988. Is it an alien movie? Is it a circus movie? Or is
Oh
it a
my
horror
God.
movie?
Yes.
Killer clowns from
Yes.
outer space,
Yes.
baby.
So, Rob, before you even get into it, fun fact: this is the first movie I ever owned on DVD.
I was with him when he bought it.
Yes,
I was with him when he bought it.
All right. So I don't know if you have noticed a trend, but a lot of these are like really out there. And these are the movies, because again, I've told the story on the pod. My grandmother, on my dad's side, did not watch us, and she just had this giant VHS collection, and none of them were children's movies. It was all adult movies and stuff like that. So when we saw these covers of a cartoon tomato and clowns on a cover, we're thinking it's a fun movie for children. And yeah, so also with Child's Play on that one too. So this movie was just so ridiculous that even now, I probably haven't seen this in 15 years, but I still remember how ridiculous it is. And just like one scene that really sticks with me is that shadow scene. Because as a kid, I'm like, oh, they're doing like shadow puppets, ha ha ha. And then it turns into the fucking monster and just eats the people off like the streets.
Turn into a T-Rex and eat the guy.
Yeah. And just how ridiculous this movie is. Again, it's just
my favorite line from that movie.
I was gonna say,
what are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Oh, and then he punches him and breaks it. He knocks his head off, right?
Yeah. And then the body like collapses like Mortal Kombat, like folds on.
What
See,
about
I see that movie as like more of like, to me, that movie's like a comedy.
Well, it is pretty comedic, yeah.
a lot of horror does mix in comedy, and you know, it's mixed results. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But like, if you're upfront about what you are, which I think Killer Clowns from Outer Space is, then I think it works.
Yeah,
like it has. Even now, it has such a cult following. This movie
makes me want to never eat cotton candy. Also,
I still see people walking around with these shirts and stuff like that. Like people still dress up like them for Halloween. Like a movie that probably wasn't taken serious at all is still people still follow it.
Yep.
Good pick.
I'm surprised they didn't make another one, to be honest with you.
I heard they were gonna do a remake, but then it was gonna be a sci-fi original. I was like, eh.
Oh yeah.
I hope they don't, though, because I feel like they would try to like
make it serious.
A serious movie.
True. Yeah, robot.
You can't make a serious movie with that movie.
No.
Well, it would be pretty stupid for sci-fi to try to make something serious with Sharknado and Sharktopus and all the other stupid shit they make.
Oh yeah. To be honest, I've seen every single Sharknado.
I don't think I've seen any of them.
I have.
They're one of those things that are just so ridiculous that you just turn on just to like.
I think I've seen.
What the fuck am I watching?
flipping through the channels, but I never actually sat one.
They're so bad that they're good.
Mhm.
They're entertaining as fuck.
Mhm.
I try to watch it just to see who the new guest is.
Yeah. Yep. Or how many different body parts does what's her face lose or turn into a robot?
And then gains and backs about.
It's like one time she has like no arm and like a sword as an arm, and then another time she's a robot, and I'm like, what is happening?
I can't. She's going to die.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Andy, number 4.
So I had to switch up my list on the fly real quick because my
Poser.
original number 4 is a lot scarier and more gruesome. So I switched it up to put it more towards the top because, yeah, I feel like it needs to be more towards the top. So my new number 4 came out in 2007. Another Rob Zombie banger, Halloween.
Okay, that one was actually good.
Yeah.
I like this one because not only did it have a backstory of when he was younger, I feel like this Michael was more, like more aggressive, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah,
Then-
very brutal.
Yeah, I mean the second one he's super brutal in, and the newest one, if you listen to our Halloween review, is goes on a spree of sorts. But yeah, no, I like this one.
I hated the way he did my man Danny Trejo. You didn't have to do machete like that.
You know, I said the same thing in the movie theaters when I saw it. I was so mad,
He was his friend. He was his only friend.
I know.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, no, not him. I thought like Danny was gonna help him like escape, and he was gonna like let him live.
What do you
But-
guys think of Malcolm McDowell's portrayal of Dr. Loomis in these movies? Because it's very different from Donald Pleasance.
It's different, but it works for the movie.
Yeah,
It didn't make an impact on me because I don't really remember.
Well, he's like, they make him, especially in the sequel, which is a terrible movie, but they do, like, they make like him like more like kind of like a scumbag. Like he's only doing it for fame and stuff. He only cares about his book. And
Yeah.
that's not really how he was in the original movie. He actually like did want to help Michael, but then he just realized he couldn't, so then he had to stop him. But
No, I like this movie. I actually like this a lot too. It didn't make my list or anything like that, but I like this a lot. Again, like I love Rob Zombie's style of movies, and I loved and appreciated the backstory. And with that backstory, they really went into like how like in real life, you know, serial killers kind of develop from a young age, and like the traumas they may face at home, and then like the things they start doing, and all these signs that are there that people ignore, usually because of shitty parents, which you see in the movie.
Michelle,
Yeah.
me back.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a good one. I enjoyed it.
I agree with Sean, and it's a little controversial. A lot of people don't like that he did that like showed more of his childhood and that he came from a broken home and stuff. Like, you're like giving a reason for it, and I don't understand why people are so against that. Like Halloween fans are very particular. They're like, oh, Michael Myers shouldn't, you know, the reason he just should kill people, and I disagree with that. But I like that they showed like more of him as an actual child and how fucked up it was, because it, you know, makes sense why he turned out the way he did. But
Yeah.
but Andy, I want to ask you though, because this is on your list, and I mean obviously you got 2 more to go, so I know. But do you actually like this one better than the original, the John Carpenter one?
Absolutely not.
No, okay.
Carpenter will always be first and foremost. Although I do appreciate their casting of Tyler Mane as Michael Myers, because he was huge.
He also played Sabretooth in Exorcist.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's a big boy.
Even the
He
little
was
awesome.
he was an independent wrestler too for a while.
Yep. He was in WCW, wasn't he, for a little bit?
For a little bit, a couple matches, yeah. They were like jobber matches or whatever, you know, enhancement matches.
All right,
Good pick.
Brent, number 3.
All right, number 3. Peep the shirt. Introducing the ghost face killer. No one fucking Ella. Scream. Boom, got the whole box set right here, baby.
Nice.
So we actually talked briefly about this before we started recording. This might be a little controversial, but I love Scream. I love the Scream series, especially the original, because this is actually another movie I just talked about with House of a Thousand Corpses. I actually didn't really like it the first time I saw it because I thought like, they're mixing too much horror and it's like all too much comedy and it's all meta, blah, blah. But then over the years, as I grew older and then watched it more, that's actually things I actually love about it. I love that it's meta. I love that it exists in a universe where like other horror movies exist and they reference them. And I love how like self-referential it is, and it referenced the genre and like the whole thing. These are the rules. You can't break the rules. You can't have sex. You can't. Don't say I'll be right back because you won't be back. And all that stuff. And I really kind of like redefined the genre. The other thing I like about the movie, even though it only lasts the first time you watch them, is I like the whodunit aspect of it, trying to figure out who the killer is. For those who don't know, they're coming out with a new one in January. They just put out the trailer the other day, and I'm already trying to figure it out. I'm like, who's the killer? It's Dylan Minnette, isn't it? No, that's what they want me to think. It ain't him. That's too easy. So, and I think that aspect of it is also something that you can get maybe somebody that doesn't really like horror so much to watch, because Rob, I know you've mentioned Taylor doesn't like horror, neither does Sarah, but I actually got her to watch the whole Scream series and she enjoyed it because of that. She liked it.
It almost has like a thriller aspect to it.
Yeah, and it's they're bloody for sure, but like, for her, like gore doesn't scare her so much. It's more like psychological stuff. Like she doesn't like watch stuff with crazy people. Even though you could argue that these ghost face killers are pretty crazy for what they're doing, but
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 3. Shout out to Wes Craven, R.I.P.
There you go.
Scream, baby.
Yeah, I'm in
Yeah, I know.
minority, but I don't give a shit about those movies. And I mean, maybe if I went back and watched them, like you said, like when I saw them when they first came out, but they're the type of movies that everybody else hypes up. And then when I see them, they don't live up to the hype, so I don't care. Just lose me, and I go back to them, and here we are today.
Word.
I respect it. I respect differing opinions.
All right,
It's okay to be wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Your number 3 then?
My number 3. Kicking it old school with this one.
Oh, okay. You were cutting out.
But really, yeah. Going to 1980. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think I might know what this is.
1980. Jack Nicholson.
Here's Johnny. Yeah.
Here's Johnny.
I thought about it.
This
it's on my honorable
movie
mention.
Is this movie? There's so many little details to this movie that people don't realize and understand, and a lot of that's just Stanley Kubrick's style. But then, just like the performances in this movie, it's a very small cast. It's like 5 people essentially, But the way
Well, I never really thought about that before. That's a good point.
Yeah, the way Jack Nicholson's character just kind of slowly evolves, and I don't think Shelley Duvall gets enough credit for her performance in this. Like as things transpire and evolve, along with what's going on with Jack Nicholson and the hotel and all that other stuff, like the bags under her eyes, and like she is constantly in this she is essentially freaking out in every scene, and there's like a tone set in this movie. Like I said, she's freaking out in every scene, but Kubrick's style, as she's freaking out, it just keeps going and going and going, and like these character moments and these scenes. And for any other movie, it would be like they're dragging on forever unnecessarily, but they just create this mood, and just kind of the environment, just everything. The music in this movie completely sets the tone for every single scene. Like the second you're in a room and somebody else walks into the room, and the way the music starts is that person's walking in the room totally sets up like very subtly like what's going on. And it's just, you could do a whole, my next few movies are kind of like this. You could do a whole podcast just breaking down this movie and its like intricacies, but it's just, this is like I guess like one of those to me, this is like a film snobs type of movie with all the details and like all the little hidden things that are here. Like there's a whole thing going on in this movie, like with Jack and Danny, the father son, that most people don't realize or even talk about. And I'm not even gonna get into it here now. What I will say is YouTube it, Google it. But there's some fucked up stuff going on here between father and son that isn't outright like pointed out or expressed or explained in the movie, but it's there. And like those deep kind of things, again, this is like a Stanley Kubrick like fucking thing. In a lot of his movies, he makes you think a lot. And I love that. I love movies that make me think.
So, I agree. Fantastic movie. This, for those who don't know, is also based on a Stephen King story.
Yep.
But what's funny is Stephen King famously hates the movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you specifically called out the casting as something you like, because that's like, I think the main thing that Stephen King hates about it. He doesn't, he didn't like
cut out and change so many things from the book too, though.
Yeah. Well, you were even just talking about kind of like the relationship between Danny and Jack. And I don't know if that's exactly the same thing you're meaning, but they go into a lot more detail about that in the book. But also, like, Stephen King did not like Jack Nicholson's casting because he felt like the character Jack is supposed to be somebody that like slowly descends into madness, and he felt like Jack Nicholson was just like crazy right from the first frame. And I think also because well, I think also because Jack Nicholson was kind of already known for playing those type of characters, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and stuff. And he didn't like Shelley Duvall either. He was like, that's not how I wrote the character. She's just like a shrieking crazy person the whole time. But
it worked.
Right. The thing is, I respect Stephen King's opinion. It's his story, obviously, and it is very different from the book. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's not good. And like Stanley Kubrick did an awesome job with it, so I agree with you.
Yeah.
Word.
Word.
So my number 3, we match, Brent. Number 3, Scream, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
So I agree with everything that Brent said. On top, I will add another movie I watched probably too young. It did kind of reamp, because I feel like between the 80s and like late 90s, almost 2000s, horror films kind of like died off, like 88 to 90s.
It re-sparked the genre, really.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
And I thought it was cool that like it was
The
more.
only problem was that, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rob. I was going to say the only problem was that then you get a lot of copycats.
Yeah.
Stuff like Urban
Like I Know What
Legend
You Did
that
Last
wasn't as
Summer
good.
and shit like that.
Yeah.
And like Final Destination. Like that's when all those movies started coming out. But
First
what I
couple
was
of those movies are awesome, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to those later.
Okay. So the fact that it was like someone that they knew, and again, it wasn't like the 80s movies. Like the 80s movies, there was always like one big villain and they kind of just walked around. This was almost like more realistic, that it was someone that all these people knew, and they would just kind of disappear, come back, kill, disappear, come back, kill, that no one could find out, to the point that when people did find out, it was like, wait, what? Kind of like Brent was saying, that you don't know. And each movie is a different killer, and it always continues the story. So it's almost like you would think, like, if Jason died, it's over. If Michael Myers died, it's over. But like this
Ghostface can be anybody.
Exactly. So it continues the story without being the same killer. That makes it more interesting because, like you said, it's who done it. And with the new one coming out, is that a continuation? Is it canon? Because I thought Dewey died in one of them, and he's coming back.
Nope, Dewey never died. None of the main three characters died.
He got shot or almost died.
He gets
He got hurt
stabbed
bad
in
in one of them.
he gets stabbed in the second one. You think he dies, but he
that's
does
what I'm
he
thinking.
does survive. But yes, it technically is Scream 5, but they're not calling it Scream 5 because they want you to kind of think it's kind of like a reboot. But it definitely is not. It's not like doing like what Halloween is doing, where it's ignoring the other movies. They do exist, so it is
Even
a
the Hayden
continuation.
Christian, not the Hayden.
Yes, I think so.
Pantera.
Yeah. Yes, actually, no, definitely, because the girl cop from that one is in this one. In this one, I know Dewey's retired and she's the sheriff now.
Oh, okay.
So they are including 4 even, yeah.
And one thing about that first Scream movie is that one kill with the garage door, like, come on.
Well,
At that
see,
point, you didn't see shit like that.
Another thing that's cool about that movie that I forgot. What happened? Sorry.
I thought that garage door thing was dumb because there's fucking sensors on garage doors. That shit would not happen.
All right, this guy's letting facts get in the way of a good story. Nah, I'll just say real quick.
Now,
I'll say real quick. One thing I forgot to say when I was talking about it. The fact that they killed the biggest star of the movie 5 minutes in was also kind of revolutionary.
Yeah,
like, what is going on here? Because you think she's the main character and then she's just dead, so that was awesome.
Like and it didn't start off slow. It was like right, and then like
that opening scene is iconic.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. And like they did parodies on it, like "What's up" and all that stuff, and then what the Scary Movie, like that's all based off of Scream. So even Scream to this day, if they weren't making another one, it's still an iconic. People still dress up as it, like one of those things that is never going to go away, really. It's going to end up being, if not already, up there with, Halloween and stuff like that.
That mask in itself is iconic because they had to try and find something, so they just grabbed any old mask and realized, like, oh, we can use this. And then that company just blew up from there. And then, did you guys see the TV show on Scream?
No.
Where the mask?
I watched it. I was very skeptical, but it actually ended up being pretty good. The first 2 seasons, not the shitty one they did on VH1 later.
Is it canon or no?
No, it's separate from the movie universe.
Oh, okay. Word.
But like the mask is really different.
The scene that always sticks out to me in that movie, and it kind of goes back to like what Rob was saying about who done it. You don't know who it was. It could be anybody. In the original one, there's like this group of friends, and ends up being 2 of them. And like that scene at the end when they're basically like, "Oh, we gotta like keep going with this," and like basically, so the police don't find out it was either one of us, and they're fucking like stabbing each other. I don't remember if they're like trying to kill each other or just to hurt each other to make it seem like they got attacked and like killed the ghost face whatever themselves. But I just remember that scene of like Matthew Lillard and the other dude, and they're like stabbing each other like in the torso.
They're trying to frame Sydney's dad.
Right.
So they're stabbing each other, and then they're going to tell the cops that her dad did it.
But then the other dude, the boyfriend, just falls into it, and Matthew Lillard's like, "Dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you're fucking hurting me, man." And like,
I feel a little weird here.
Yeah.
My favorite was when he goes, then he says to Cindy, like, "Are you really going to tell no, he's like, "Did you really call the cops?" She's like, "You better ask it." He's like, "My parents are going to be so mad at me." He's worried about his parents. So you're going to jail, boo.
Yeah.
So great. So great.
Funny.
All right, Andy. Number 3.
My number 3 came out in 2016.
Damn.
Shout out to Guap for this one, for putting me on notice of this movie. But the movie is called Terrifier.
Oh.
I've heard a lot of things about this movie, and I haven't gotten around to watching it. But.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a slasher, and then towards the end, it gets a little ridiculous. It's just like, all right, what is, like, you can't like tell what's going on because like the whole like premise kind of switches. But pretty much like this psycho clown guy is just stalking these 3 women coming from like a club or like a Halloween party. And there's one scene that sticks out in my mind where they stop to get like pizza because they think like their car broke down and they got a flat tire or something. And they're sitting there and they're eating, and he's just sitting in the corner, just smiling with that like weird smile, just staring at them. And like that whole scene goes for like a good 5 minutes before like he finally like starts moving towards them, and like just that factor of it was creepy. But the kills, it's pretty bloody, pretty like slasher type deal. But that comes in with my next one.
I never even heard of it. I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I can't really add anything, but I'm gonna add it to the list of ones to watch for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard everybody who's seen it has said it's good. So yeah.
All right, Brent. Number 2.
All right, number 2. We discussed it briefly already. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. So see, Sean cheated and put the whole series on there, so I'm gonna narrow it down. But no, he's right. This whole series obviously is iconic. The original's great. Second one, not so much. But they made a big comeback with this one, baby. This is the pinnacle of the series, in my opinion. This one's even better than the original, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think this is the one where they really get Freddy perfect, where he's not too funny. He's still like sadistic and scary, but he throws in the one-liners and the cracks but still in a way where it's like, yeah, motherfucker, it's funny, but I'm taking joy in killing your ass. And like the kills in this one are real creative. Like anybody who's seen it knows, like the TV one, where welcome to prime time, bitch, and he smashes his head into the TV. You also get more Freddy's backstory in this one. It kind of explains things a little more. And they brought back Heather Langenkamp, who she was sorely missed from the sequel from number 2. Wes Craven, obviously, he's the creator of this character. He wrote and directed the first one. I think he wrote it. I know he directed it. I think he wrote it. And then he wasn't involved in the second one at all. And then he came back and was involved in this one. I think he wrote it. He didn't direct it.
I didn't know he wasn't involved in the second one at all.
No, he had no involvement in it. And you can tell because it's not that good.
That was a weird.
Yeah,
that was a weird one.
And then also like the 4 and 5 and like the sequels after, like they're still like fun to watch, but they got a little, like Sean said, a little too hokey. This one was the perfect line of comedy and still being scary and sinister and shit.
I feel like that's what happened with a lot of those 80s ones. It's like the first 2 or 3 are somewhat serious, and then after that it's just like cash grab.
We
go off the rail.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I like about this movie, and this might get brought up a little bit again later in the honorable mentions, but is the kids in the dream world have like powers that they can fight Freddy with. And I love that idea of like the protagonist having something to kind of like an equalizer rather than just being stupid kids who run away and trip or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it's my favorite. That's why it's my favorite Freddy movie and my number 2 horror movie.
Word.
I think my favorite. I haven't seen it in such a long time. I don't remember if it resulted in a kill, but the scene where he's got like the kid,
the puppet.
Yes.
Yeah, he does kill him. He walks him off the building, and then everybody thinks it's a suicide because they can't see Freddy.
Right, but he's got his like veins and blood vessels.
It's nasty.
Puppet strips and shit. Love it.
Word. Sean, number 2.
Number 2, going back to 1982. For John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
All right.
There it is. Oh, he's going for number 1, isn't he?
No, it's an honorable mention actually, but it's a great pick. I won't argue with you.
This movie, so we're saying like how with the Rob's Halloween, how we appreciated the backstory. This movie gives like hardly any backstory as to what the Thing is, this alien virus entity, whatever the fuck it is. All we know is some spaceship, UFO thing, crash landed in Antarctica. Could have been 100,000 years ago. We don't know for sure. That's all we know. That's all the backstory we get. But then this movie just, it's paranoia and distrust. Like that's what this whole movie is. You don't know who is infected, or is it, they say it's assimilated, who the alien DNA or whatever has assimilated into. You don't know, and the ending, I love the fucking ending. Like, you don't know which one of them could or might not be, assimilated,
Spoiler
as they
alert.
say. Yeah, well, it's been almost 30 years. Fuck off.
40. The 80s is 40 years ago,
Yeah.
guys. I know we're getting old.
But something else I really love about this movie. Goddamn, pal. Something I really love about this movie. There's not a lot of music in it, like background music, whatever. So you kind of hear everything. Like, you hear a lot of little things in the background that don't really matter, but it just creates the tone and the mood and whatnot. And it makes sense because it's in Antarctica. And what happens, like, we're in New York, what happens when there's like a blizzard or a snowstorm? Noise pollution goes away. It's silent. It's quiet. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or not, but it's just like a certain thing that sets the tone for the movie that I really love. The visual effects, the practical effects, in my opinion, as great as this movie is from a psychological standpoint, and I love it for that reason. But the practical effects do not hold up today. It's really bad. I think they got the same team that did the practical effects for fucking Total Recall because they look identical. The monsters and all that shit look the same. But I think in horror movies, I love the psychological aspects of it. Like slasher movies and monster type movies never really did much for me. This is like a pretty close to being perfect psychological movie. So that's my number 2.
Word.
Agreed. That's all I got to say.
Good movie.
All right. Ready for my number 2?
I can't
Hit 'em.
wait.
Hit us.
No, it's pretty. Brent already had it. I'd say Child's Play. 88. Number 1. I think the reason, added to everything that Brent said earlier, there was a doll named Buddy that came out before this movie, and
My buddy,
exactly.
wherever he goes, I
My
go.
buddy and me, wherever I go, he goes.
So a lot of people had these Buddy dolls, and then all of a sudden, this movie that kind of looked like it came around, and the fact that, like, my mom or my uncle had a Buddy doll in the house that we were living in.
That's
So
awesome.
it was like we had the Buddy doll. Again, went over to my grandmother's house, who did not watch us, and we saw a doll on the cover. We watched it, and then when we came home, my brother was just fucking terrified. He was like, "Ah!" And then again, I was a little bit older, and I would just like place the doll in different places around the house to catch him off guard. But now he like loves Chucky. He's like a horror buff. But I think it was just like unique in that sense of, like Brent was saying, like you just see the little legs and you're like, oh, is it the kid or not? And it just, again, it was one of those, we've seen aliens, we've seen grown men, we've seen, stuff like that. This was the first kind of, it was like original, kind of like Gremlins, but not really. And the voice is just iconic. I just remember I could like hear his voice right now. That's how iconic it is. And the fact that they have done probably about 10 different movies and now they're doing a TV show. Can't go wrong with Chucky.
He's voiced by Brad Dourif, who has done the voice the whole time, other than the remake, because that was a whole different thing. And his daughter, Fiona Dourif, is an actress, and she was in these last 2 sequels that they did, and she's going to be in the TV series as well.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's an iconic franchise, iconic horror villain, I guess. sometimes the villains start to become the heroes with these.
Like when he gets married and has a kid.
Yeah, they went a little too far with that one. But
You know what they should have done for the ones where they introduced the wife? Because they should have, like you were saying before about the My Buddy dolls in real life. They should have had Kid's sister be the wife in the movies.
That would have been weird, but yeah, it could have worked.
One more thing I'll say real quick about this movie. It has an awesome trailer. If you actually go back and watch the original trailer, it's really cool. It's got like a really like sinister voiceover, and they're very smart to not actually ever show Chucky like moving. You only see kind of like shadows of him or like just the hand and stuff. They don't actually show like his face moving or anything like that in the trailer. It's really
Question from these are things that I've seen it so many like so long ago I can't remember. I know the wife gets turned into the doll. They have a kid, right? Does she get turned back into a human? Because in the not the most recent remake, but the one before that when they're in the psych ward, she's a human again, and now she is in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So did I miss something? I feel like I missed something.
I've seen all the movies except for Seed of Chucky because this one looked just too ridiculous for me. Like I wouldn't be able to take it. But I do think in that movie, I've like read stuff and heard reviews. I think they figure out a way where she can kind of be in the doll and in her human form at the same time or something.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too because I remember we were talking about that before, and I think towards like the end of it.
Well, at the end of this last sequel, Cult of Chucky, they reveal that Chucky like learned some new voodoo spell where he can be in like he can like spread his soul out.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was interesting, and then they never continued that storyline.
Yeah, but I think they're going to revisit it because those movies are canon in the series.
In the TV show,
everything is canon in the series. Yeah.
Even this new one with Aubrey Plaza.
No, that's separate.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just kind of getting a little bit. Yeah, kind of getting into a deep dive here, but the original movie, the studio that produced it was MGM. But then they decided they didn't want to do any more horror movies, so they sold the rights to Universal. All the other movies were by Universal, but MGM still retained the rights to the original. So when they did the remake, they were only allowed to like remake the original one. So that's why they changed a bunch of stuff because they couldn't do sequels off it. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so the one when they're in the psych ward before that, where the wife shows up in the beginning to drop off the doll and then picks up the doll at the end, that's canon.
Yep.
So then the Chucky, I'm assuming in the TV show, could just be one of those voodoo dolls and not the original.
Yeah, they haven't gotten there yet. It's only been 2 episodes, but I think that we're going to get into that.
Because I thought that was interesting how like she just put the doll in, waited.
Basically, she's mailing him. It's like he tells her, "Mail me here so I can kill these people."
Yeah, and then she picks him up. Yeah, it's just But that's my number 2.
Interesting.
Andy?
So I already know my number 2 is going to be controversial, and no one's going to agree.
Controversy creates cash, baby.
I love all of it, and I'll even go on a very, very tiny rant about why I like this one so much. But this came out in 2001. I would nominate the entire series if I could because the series is just amazing. He's one of my favorite killers of all time. But this particular movie, I don't know if I love it because it's so
Oh my God, I think I know where this is going.
Or I love it because it's so fucking bad. My number 2.
I don't know what he's going to say.
Jason X.
I knew it. Yep, Jason X. Oh my God.
I can't.
Jason X.
Check me out.
Jason X. Just look at this badass. Hold on.
Lord Zed?
Look at, this badass Lord Zed. Okay? Look at the suit. The suit is dope. Okay? The suit's dope.
Time to conquer Earth.
As Brent said earlier, sci-fi can't make anything serious, even if their life depended on it, which I was kind of scared. I thought you guys were going to bring that up and didn't. But it starts off as a Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th feel, because they
5
capture
fucking minutes.
they have him like chained up, and it's Kane Hodder who's playing Jason Voorhees, who is the original Jason Voorhees, and
Well, no, he's not the original,
well,
but he's like the most well-known one and probably did the best job with it.
yeah. So like that's cool, and then it goes into the sci-fi TV series aspect of it, and just gets extremely hokey. But I don't know. I still love that movie. Even when the robot starts whooping his ass and blows him to pieces, and he comes back with that badass suit, and he just starts fucking everybody up. I don't know. There's something about it. I love it.
Number 2, though?
All right.
Number
The
2.
something about it here is that you have terrible fucking taste. And I'm very, very, very disappointed in you right now. I don't have words.
I just had, I was picking. I do love that movie. It would have made my list regardless. But
see, there's a difference between what Rob did with his list and what now you're doing. You deserve to be canceled.
Jason X.
Cancel culture.
I'm canceling your ass.
I'll go on record on saying Jason X is probably the only good horror movie that ever came out of sci-fi.
It's not a sci-fi original though. It
I
came
thought it
out.
was.
It came out in theaters. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
Oh, okay. So then I take that back.
Yeah.
Not only do you nominate a shitty movie, but you don't even know what you're talking about that shitty movie.
I mean, no. To your point, it's garbage enough to be a sci-fi original.
Sci-fi feel to it. It is
why
shitty,
it should have
but
been on
it's
his
awesome
list.
movie.
No,
Awesome
actually,
movie.
I've actually never actually sat and watched the whole thing. I saw like the opening 5 minutes, and I saw the end where he comes out as Lord Zed, and I was like, "That's enough."
That's where I thought it was awesome. I was like, okay, this movie sucks. All right, they killed Jason. That's weird.
pretty much what killed the whole series. I mean, honestly.
Pretty much.
Has any like good Jason movie come out after that?
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason.
But not like a standalone. Freddy vs. Jason 1 was good. The second one was not.
Jason hasn't.
You know what? The 2009 remake isn't bad actually. It's definitely better than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake they did.
Oh my god.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, but fuck.
I keep forgetting this movie exists.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch the first 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did see this.
All right, I'm passing it to Brent. Numero uno.
Number one. Give me a drum roll. Creep Show.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I love this movie. Okay. And not only do I love this movie, I love this like subgenre of horror movies, which is like the anthology horror movie, where they do like 3 to 5 short segments in one movie, and then there's usually like something that ties them all together. Creep Show 2, which I love just as much, falls in this category. You got Twilight Zone the movie. You got what else we got over here? Yeah, that's all the ones I have the DVDs of. Cat's Eye is another one. Tales from the Dark Side the movie. But Creep Show is the king of this. It's the best one. It's also it's based on like the old horror comics from like the 50s, and the movie feels like a comic book come to life. It's like even with the way it edited, sometimes like the slides, it's like the way like a comic book movie would look. Also, I wanted to bring up, because a couple weeks ago on the Spooktacular episode you did, Andy brought up one of the segments about the seaweed monsters, and he falsely said it was from Tales from the Crypt. It's not. It's from Creep Show, the greatest horror movie of all time. Don't get it twisted.
Fuck that. That episode can go fuck itself.
Brent's been calling you out on a lot of that episode.
In the glass shower and in the beach. Fuck that episode.
Also starring that segment starring the iconic Leslie Nielsen in a rare non-comedic performance.
Forgot about that. Yep.
And Ted Danson. He's one of the seaweed monsters.
For real?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I see you guys aren't up on Creepshow. You need to go watch Creepshow.
See,
Creepshow
I haven't watched it. Okay, I'm pretty confident I've seen it, but I can't remember anything, so it's got to be a while.
Well,
I
again,
can't- I have nothing.
I haven't watched those. I haven't seen those since like you showed them to me. Like we were like in fucking high school, so that tells you how long it's been since I've seen them.
Again, like I said, I love the anthology horror because I feel like it moves quick. It stays interesting because you're not focusing on one thing for 2 hours. It's a couple short stories, and then before you know it, the movie's over.
So it's kind of like Goosebumps, American Horror Story, but like instead of American Horror Story is like seasons. Goosebumps is like single, or Are You Afraid of the Dark is like single episodes.
Yeah, it would be more like that, or like Tales from the Crypt.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
But except think of like 3 episodes of Tales from the Crypt together and into like a movie.
Got it. And they all tie in.
Usually,
No,
it depends. Like it depends on which movie. We're talking Creepshow exactly. The first one, I don't think they really tie in at all. Like I said, it's kind of like a comic book. There is the creep. He's like kind of like the host of it almost.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other ones, like I mentioned Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, that one they do tie in, and there's like a wraparound story.
Okay.
Tales from the Hood is another one I forgot to mention. That's a classic.
The Hood. That's a great one.
That's a good one. But yeah, Creepshow, my number 1 favorite horror movie.
All right.
Isn't Tales from the Hood with Candyman?
What'd you say?
Isn't Tales from the Hood with Candyman?
No, that's Tony Todd. It's Clarence Williams III is in Tales from the Hood, also known as Samson from Half Baked.
Yeah. All right, Seany
bitch.
D, number 1.
All right. I'm gonna go really, really fucking dark here. I know none of you guys have this on your fucking list. I'm gonna go to 1987, the original Hellraiser movie for my number 1. Have any of you guys seen this fucking movie?
Hell yeah.
I can't confidently say that I have.
I have it somewhere, actually.
This movie is fucked up, but this movie is also very deep, and there's a lot going on here. And it is fucking twisted, and it is violent, and it is bloody. But it's not just violent and bloody for the sake of being violent and bloody. The violence and the blood and the gore, there are like points and purposes to it. Like this movie is about like, oh my, there's a lot going on in this fucking movie, and like this is one of those movies where it's like in the 80s, you have all like the iconic mainstream, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, like those iconic, almost mainstream horror movie characters. But like, there it is, right there. There's Pinhead.
Okay.
There's Pinhead.
All right, wait, real quick.
We
I can confidently tell you, because I was going to say this earlier, but I didn't want to say it before the podcast. I have never seen a Hellraiser movie from start to finish.
Ooh.
Never.
Ooh.
We all are of the age where we used to go to Blockbuster on a lot of Friday nights. Or for me and Brent, Beacon Video.
That's also how I gained all my wrestling knowledge. Coliseum videos at Beacon Video.
And an entire row of Coliseum videos, but that's for another story. That's another story for another day. This is like that movie poster was just always fucking there. Like that movie poster is like ingrained in my mind. That Pinhead like fucking poster that advertised at the movie rental fucking places. But like I was saying, there's so much going on in this fucking movie. Like it is dark, it is twisted, it is violent, it is bloody, but all the violence and blood and gore serve a purpose. There are different stories going on here that all kind of tie in that are pretty deep. Like I watched this movie way too young. nobody under 18 should be watching this fucking movie. I saw it when I was like 12. I had no business watching this movie when I was 12 at all. Really, this movie is about like lust and what really deep, dark lust can do to a person. And then from there, there's like this crazy interdimensional shit going on. This is another movie. I think I said this before about The Shining. We could do an entire episode breaking down this movie and getting into all the nuances and the different intricacies of it. We don't have the time for that right now. Let's be honest. I made some comments before about the John Carpenter's thing about how the visual effects don't hold up to this day. This movie, the visual effects hold up. The cinematography and like the practical effects of this movie are fantastic, and they look great to this day. But you can watch this movie in 4K and shit is gonna look sick still, with the exception of a couple things. Like there's one monster thing that doesn't really hold up very well because of the way they filmed it. And then there's like some more so visual type stuff, like kind of glowy, like paranormal type things that are not very prevalent in the movie. It's just here and there. It looks ridiculous, like typical 80s shit. But for the most part, a lot of the gore and like the practical stuff looks amazing even to this day. But you know, this is a movie when you first see it. Like again, I saw it when I was like 12 years old. I had no business seeing this movie when I was 12 years old. You don't get it. You just see a violent movie with a bunch of twisted shit. But if you watch it as an adult, this movie's fucking deep. So if we were to go ahead and do some kind of get together, watch the movies, review them, do a watch along, I would want to do this movie. So yeah.
Word. Again, I don't think I've seen it, so I'd be okay with doing that. Then you get a live reaction.
I've seen it, but it was a real long time ago. I don't really remember much from it. Obviously, I have it on DVD. I was gonna put it in my honorable mentions. I was like, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm gonna like not put it in there. But I'm down for a watch along.
Give me 1 second.
Also, Sean, did you hear that they're supposedly gonna do a TV series of it for HBO?
It's on HBO.
I've heard rumors about that. Yeah.
It hasn't started yet. So, what are you putting a chair together over there?
The chair broke. You know those like super stupid like Foley chairs? Those like.
Damn, fatty.
Listen, I've been doing the Peloton. I ain't fat.
Just kidding.
Ryan laughed here with his chair.
Oh yeah.
Brent's the only one that knows what I'm talking about with that.
All right, you ready for my number one? I don't think that Andy's gonna have this, so I think my number one is in the clear.
All right.
All right, let's go, baby.
All right, 2007. What movie could it be? Is it a killer? Is it a monster? Or is it a recording? I don't know. Paranormal Activity.
Okay.
My number one.
All right.
And I'll explain. So, just like Scream and Child's Play, this kind of brought a new genre, especially in the way that it was videotaped. I mean, they had Blair Witch, but to me, I hated Blair Witch. To me, this is more realistic than, let's say, a Michael Myers or Jason or anything like that. And I've talked to Andy on the podcast about I've actually had paranormal stuff happen to me before. So the fact that like the movie is just them recording and they're trying to see if there's a spirit of some sort in their house, and the movie just gets progressively like worse, and not worse than like bad, all right, progressively like worse for the characters, on how like first the picture shakes and then it gets to like the woman just standing over the bed for like 5 hours not realizing it, to like spoiler at the end is like the ghost that you still can't see tosses and kills the husband and into the camera, and then it kind of just goes blank and just kind of does like titles and explains things. So it seems almost like a real life documentary with things that could really happen, in my opinion, because again, a paranormal experience, and the fact that it's to me, it's like it could be real. And I just remember seeing the first one. I know they eventually kind of got a little bit ridiculous, but the first two I think were top of the line. But when I left the theater after seeing the first one, I was legitimately scared. Like to go home thinking like there's gonna be a fucking invisible ghost in my house, like opening, closing doors and shit like that. And I never got that with Chucky or Michael Myers or any of these other ones. So that's why I put this as my number one, because when I first saw Paranormal, I was legitimately scared outside of seeing the movie.
Okay. I agree. It was a new way to film horror movies at that point, and it's so like it's so easily how they did it, like filming wise, so to speak, like camera wise. But like it was never done before that, so like it was something that people weren't used to. That they were like, and even um, I forget if this was true or if this was a rumor. Didn't like they put it as like real actual events and like didn't say anything for the longest time? It was
Yeah,
just
they put like true story in so and so town.
yeah. So like nobody knew if it was like real or fake. So like that freaked people out as well.
Well, because
And
it was when you talk about how it was filmed too, it's kind of like found footage, but kind of not also because like it's found footage a lot of times it's like someone holding the camera and they're jumbling it and it like gives you motion sickness. Like this was more like a surveillance camera
mhm.
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
to purposely.
Like Blair Witch was too much because it was like that, like running
Yeah,
and
they're
like
like running with the camera. It's like Joe Sweat filmed it. Once again, only showing one scene.
but like this was steady cam. They were on tripods and just like seeing just the progression of how things got worse in the house to the ending. And then even how the same story kind of continues through the next couple. And I know it kind of got a little ridiculous toward the end, but even in the second one, like when they were using the Xbox Connect, and then like the heat of the ghost could be told and could be seen with the Xbox, and I was like, "Yo, I got an Xbox Connect in my house. What the fuck?" So
Well, that's what I was gonna say. This is like one of those movies where like the first one was successful and it was cheap to make, so they just started pumping out like a million of them. And
yeah,
like I saw the original one, and the original one is pretty good. And then I don't remember. I saw one of the sequels, but I don't even know if it was the second one. It might have been the third one, and then I don't know which one was which. And then I kind of lost interest. But no, it's a pretty good movie. The first one, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
There's one scene that I really love in the first one where like they asked the priest to come,
hmm
and he walks in the house and he goes, "Well, I have to go." Well, like there's something. There's this. You guys need to get out of here, and I gotta go. Bye. And he just leaves.
You know they're coming out with a new one, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
really?
gonna say that too. If you got Paramount Plus, it's gonna be on there.
See, I don't have Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
I could
And
probably
I like the first couple
probably
of these
pass you a
movies.
password.
Yeah, right. I like the first couple of these movies. For the most part, like Rob said, like Rob was saying about himself, I've had some paranormal experiences in my childhood as well. And so typically, if I'm looking to actually be like scared or something to really get into my head, I'll go to more like a paranormal movies that touch on like religious type shit, like exorcism type of movies, things like that. Those are the movies that kind of get to me more in that sense. But I think like the sequels with these movies in particular kind of just I enjoyed the first one, I enjoyed the second one. I think the third one is when they like kind of revealed where it was like some ancient cult or some
Yeah,
shit
it
that
was
was
like some
following them around.
witchy cult thing.
Yeah, and they just lost me with that. But
I
but
just
yeah.
remember one of them. What it was like the ghost. You couldn't see the ghost, but some guy like found him. The ghost like picks the guy up, and then you just see his body like turn, and then it just like crack, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Andy, number one.
Number one. So my number one came out in 2004. and I love the original. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason I can watch this movie over and over again.
Zombies.
It was a remake,
Oh, I know where we're going with this.
and the original creator was actually a cast member in said movie, and I am talking about Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
Told ya. Told ya.
I love this movie. Like, just everything I felt hit for me as like a zombie movie lover. Like it had like it wasn't like I forget the name of the movie and it still pisses me off till this day where they had zombies like learning how to shoot a gun and walk halfway
Land
across
of the
America.
Dead.
Yeah. Fuck that movie. I hate that movie. But this one, they're trapped in a mall and like they're trying to figure out a way to get out. And then you got Andy from Andy's Guns, a half across the street,
And a
and they're
zombie baby.
and a zombie baby, and they shoot his wife in the head because she turns into a zombie. And
Phil
yeah,
from Modern Family.
yep, Phil from Modern Family is in it.
Oh, shit.
Uh,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's the
Wow.
douchebag. He's the douchebag guy.
Yeah.
yep.
Oh my God! Wow.
Oh, the
Uh,
dad, you mean, right?
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, the dad.
Okay, yeah. I haven't really watched Modern Family much. I've seen a couple episodes here and there. So.
Oh, you'd
That
like
show's-
it. You'd like it.
That show's great. But anyway, yeah.
That's just funny. And it's one of those like zombie movies where like it doesn't end on a happy note. Like
Right. Yep.
they get
Yeah.
out of the building, they get to the island, and then like they think they're good, and then all of a sudden like Disturbed's Down with the Sickness kicks on, and you see the camera just flying, and all these zombies are running from everywhere.
Great
Yeah.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
And what's cool about it though too is like that happens and they're on the boat, whatever, and the credits start playing, but then it kind of like does like a weird like cut in like whatever, and it's like a found footage, like they're filming it with the cameras themselves now, and they're getting off this boat and they're walking up this path and like the brush is all overgrown in the path, and they start hearing shit, and it's like this narrow overgrown path, and you see everything just start fucking rushing them. It's just like what I love about that movie. I'm sorry if I'm fucking interrupting you and everything on your pick, but there's like a chaos in the beginning of this movie, like when she comes home and finds out like her husband's like a fucking zombie and she's escaping that and like trying to drive through the neighborhood. Like there's a chaos of that, and then like the chaos of like that brief end scene when they get to the fucking island.
yep. Starts with chaos and then ends with chaos.
Doesn't it go from Down with the Sickness to a Johnny Cash song?
It starts off, I think, with a Johnny Cash version of Down with Sickness. It's
And
like,
then yes, that's right. Wow, I forgot about that.
get down with sickness, mother. Like it's
was
like
like-
singing it.
Oh yeah.
I gotta go back and
Gotta
watch it.
get-
I think I only saw it like when it first came out.
We saw that in the theater together.
Yeah,
I think.
I remember seeing that. The only thing I will say, obviously, there's a lot of zombie purists that don't like that the zombies are fast in this movie. I think it's awesome. It makes them way more
Yeah.
terrifying that you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
outrun them motherfuckers.
Oh,
I mean,
Isn't that rule number one?
That
Cardio.
motherfucker at the beginning almost catches up to the car. That's how
Yeah.
fast he is. Bitch, get out
like
the room!
how-
Bitch, get out the room! That's 40-year-old virgin.
Well, what's kind of like relatable to it too for all of us is like I feel like that movie came out like right at the tail end of like we're in high school,
Mhm.
and I don't know about you guys, but like me and Brent, shit, we were at the mall like every week hanging out with like our friends like from like different school districts and shit. And so like the fact that movie was like took place at a mall and we used to hang out at the mall all the time, and we're seeing it at the movie theater in the mall. There's just like there's a certain like fucked up, creepy like relatability to it,
Well,
Yep.
especially if you go in the mall these days,
Oh yeah.
because that shit looks like a ghost town.
Mhm.
The Galleria Mall looks like how the South Hills Mall used to look.
Oh yeah. All right. So
That's-
why don't we, for honorable mentions, just in the same order, we'll just go down the movies we have on there, and then we'll do a little discussion afterwards, and then we'll go, just so we're not going eat movie to movie, because we're almost at 2 hours.
All right.
So
Uh,
a lot of my honorable mentions already kind of got talked about. Either they were on your guys' list or they just kind of get mentioned. But real quick, so Sean talked about The Shining. He talked about The Thing. And these are like two classic horror movies I consider great. Another one that's considered one of the greatest of all time is The Exorcist.
Okay.
And
Yes.
yeah.
now the only reason I put these on my honorable mention, not my top five, because a lot of people say these are classics, you're on your top five. But as great as these movies are, to me, they're just not as fun to watch as some of these other ones. Like, they're not ones I necessarily want to throw on every Halloween, every October, just to watch for fun. That could go a couple years. Watch these. These are a lot more like I said, they're great, but they're not necessarily as fun. They're more psychological. You kind of got to think, and they're kind of long also, some of them. So those are on there. We mentioned real briefly Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is another one where they introduce like kind of a new concept. The idea of you're being stalked not by a person, not by a monster, but by death itself. And to this day, because not this one, but Final Destination 2, I will not drive behind one of those trucks with all the lies on it.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
If I get behind that shit, I will pass it no matter what.
Or you slow the fuck down and let it go.
Yeah.
Make sure you got room to move over.
Obviously, all those other anthology movies I mentioned, they're all on my honorable mention list. I forgot to mention, because I said I was going to bring Stephen King back up. Stephen King has involved with a lot of those movies. So he wrote Creepshow 1 and 2. A lot of the segments are based on short stories of his. Cat's Eye is another one that's based on short stories, and Tales from the Dark Side also. So going back to him again, the master of horror. And I'll throw in, so we talk about all the iconic. We talked about Freddy. We talked about Chucky. Mike got mentioned. I'll put the original Halloween on my honorable mention. This is really the one that kind of kicked it all off. And Friday the 13th as a franchise, it certainly has its ups and downs, but Jason is iconic, so you got to throw him in there. I especially like 6 and 7 are two of my favorites, which it's rare to say that sequels that late in the series are like some of the better ones, but for me, I like those ones a lot. 7, especially, again, saying what I said with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, how you have like a protagonist that has like a supernatural element that they can actually fight back against Jason. And the last one I'll throw in is Freddy versus Jason, the iconic crossover, the one we all waited for. When this trailer came out, I saw it in the theater, and dude, I bugged out. I did like the gif of Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec, where he's like I did that.
I'm pretty sure
and that was a good movie too.
I'm pretty sure I was sitting next to him in the theater, and he made that Chris Pratt face at me.
Yeah, I don't remember what the movie that we were going to see where the trailer played was, but we saw the trailer, and I was like, oh shit. And this was like before the internet was the way it is now, where like you knew 5 years ahead of time that the movie was being made. I didn't know, so.
And a lot of people hate, a lot of horror purists, whatever, hate that movie, but that movie's a lot of fucking fun.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, same deal. It's just fun. It's ridiculous. But I thought they actually did do a good job with the story of how Freddy brings Jason back because everyone forgot about him because he feeds off the fear, and if you don't know him, he has no power. And I kind of like that whole idea.
Yeah.
All right, Shawnee, you're honorable.
All right, a couple of these. I got a few here. The first ones, I think a lot of people might shit on for this. First one to go on this list is the Grudge movies, the first two, just because these movies are creepy as fuck.
Yep.
These, that fucking thing, that ghost, that demon girl, the anger, whatever the fuck she represents, the girl that got murdered, the wife, just creepy as fuck. That little kid in the corner with the fucking cat is creepy as fuck. And that noise is embedded in my fucking head, unfortunately, that I can't even I used to be able to do it, I can't do it anymore. That fucking whatever the fuck it was. Fuck that girl. that shit. Fuck you, Andy. Next one on the list, I'm gonna go with the original Omen from 1976. Anything with little kids just creeps me out. Like especially horror movies with little kids creeps me out. This is just a classic. This is like one of the first horror movies I could kind of like remember seeing at like an early age by accident. It was a thing where like I want to say like my mom and dad were split up at this time, and I was staying at my dad's house for the weekend. I used to sleep with the TV on, and I woke up, and this movie just happened to be on TV while we were asleep. And I like woke up at like 2 a.m. and fucking watched this movie by myself when I was like 7 years old. Just a lot of little, so there's like, you know, this movie's creepy as hell, you know, whatever. Next one is the original Saw movie. I thought this movie.
I wanted to throw that on mine too. I forgot to say it, but yeah.
These movies and the sequels went off the rails, and they kind of just became like gore porn, where it was just like gratuitous violence for the sake of just gratuitous, like just violence for no fucking reason. The first one, the twist at the end, was kind of funny about that to me. So I think me, Brent, and a bunch of like of our other friends went to see this movie in the theater, and I happened to be sitting next to Eric. I know Rob knows Eric. Brent obviously knows Eric. Andy, I don't know if you met Eric or not. Our friend Eric. I'll say we were under the influence of a little. Eric especially was under the influence of a little something. You know, smoking that reefer.
The tree, the good.
Yeah, and about literally 30 seconds before the ending, we're trying to figure out what's happening, trying to figure out what's going on. And Eric just kind of leans over to me in his state, and he goes, "Yo, watch this guy just get up and walk out of the room." As soon as he said it, the fucking guy stood up and walked out of the room. We started dying, but nobody saw that shit coming for real, though. But like the deaths were creative. There's a psychological element to it. That type of thing hadn't been done yet, so it's just a cool movie for the times. But
it also has the great Carrie. I don't know how to say his last name.
Els.
You know who I'm talking about? The claw's coming at you. Ooh, you're scared of the claw.
Yep.
Starting
classic movies. So, what?
It's also directed by James Wan, which we're gonna get back.
Yeah, he does a lot of good shit nowadays, like Insidious.
His first film, yeah.
Yeah, but he does like Insidious and the Conjuring movies nowadays, which are also great. But yeah, my last movie on the honorable mentions. I don't think any of you guys have seen this before, and a lot of people I've talked to do not like this movie, and I think it's boring as fuck. It's The Witch from like probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was Anya Taylor-Joy, one of her first movies. To most people, this movie is incredibly boring. But what I love about this movie is the mood and the atmosphere of it. There's nothing like crazy that happens in this movie. There's just, from the get-go, there's this constant tension. It's not like ever edge of your seat or anything like that, but it's just this very subtle tension that lasts and kind of very, very slowly builds throughout the entire movie. There is no music in this movie, which just adds to the atmosphere and the mood and everything. And I guess this would kind of be categorized as more of like one of those like a film buff type movie, like the way it's filmed and everything like that. But I recommend everybody just see this movie once and just like kind of feel it, if that makes sense. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
All right.
Word.
A good little there.
All right. My honorable mentions, I would say they're all kind of fun, except for one, which I think is really fucked up. So I'll save that one for the last one. So I got Gremlins.
Okay.
Aliens.
Okay.
Alien or Aliens?
The original, sorry, Alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate about that because the original Alien a lot of people consider an action movie. The second one, Aliens, a lot of people consider a horror movie.
No, I think it's vice versa.
Really?
People consider the original a horror movie, and then Aliens is more like an action movie. That's where James Cameron stepped in and
Ah, well, fuck me then.
I put Trick or Treat.
Hell yeah.
I watched that movie for the first time last year, and that actually falls into the anthology category also, and it does have a tie-in story. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Saw. Evil Dead. Original.
I was gonna put that on mine. Too,
Original.
yeah.
Original.
Close.
The new one wasn't bad, but the original. Those movies went off the rails too, especially like they just
Army of Darkness.
Yeah, they went off the rails. I put all zombie movies. There's too many to pick one because I'm a zombie buff. That's why I didn't put any zombie movies in my top 5 because I was like, I don't know which one to pick.
Rob, have you ever seen this one, Train to Busan? I think it's like a Korean movie. Everyone says it's really, really good. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a zombie movie though.
I don't know if I've seen that one then. I haven't.
I don't know if I said it. I don't even know if I said it right. I might have. Sorry if I mispronounced.
I think the only foreign zombie movie I think I've actively went out of my way to see was the one with Nazi zombies. Okay. I think it was called Nazi Zombies.
No.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Something Snow. Dead Snow.
Dead Snow. Yes.
That movie is great.
So good. So good.
I think it's on Netflix. That movie's great.
I think there's there is a second one I believe, and it wasn't as good.
Yeah, there is a second one. It goes off the rails.
Yeah. And then the movie that I put on my honorable mention, which I wouldn't say it's fun to watch, but it's definitely fucked up, is Hills Have Eyes.
The original or the remake?
The original.
Okay.
Like, I just remember being like, oh my God, this is making me feel so uncomfortable. And it's like weirdly good.
The remake was like that too, though.
See, I don't think I went out of my way for the remake because I felt a certain way after the original.
I actually don't think I've ever seen the original. I think I've only seen the remake. So I should probably go watch the original.
The original was great.
Okay, can you give me the years?
The original was
like the 70s.
70.
Yeah.
Oh, then okay, maybe I guess the remake.
The remake was like 2003 somewhere.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Same era as like the remake was like around the same time as the remake of Dawn of the Dead that Andy just talked about.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm talking about the remake then. I don't think I've seen the original.
That was very a lot of shit in that movie's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I remember being like, "Wow, that was like a good horror film that made me feel uncomfortable and could be realistic, and it made me feel even more weird."
But how many times do you desire? How often since then have you like had the desire to watch it again?
I think I might have seen it 3 times.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah, not in a while, but I just remember it leaving. Like, it's like almost the thing. It left such an impact that I was like, will never forget that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy, honorable mention.
Honorable mention. I'll run through my list quick. Freddy vs. Jason. Love that movie. I even love how Freddy was in that movie. How he was like more comical, but like still like a scary monster, so to speak. All of the Jeepers Creepers, even the new one, really good.
Jeepers Creepers.
Where'd you get the peepers? All of the Chainsaw Massacre, except for the newest one.
The beginnings.
Yeah, get that movie with a passion.
Supposed to be making a new one of those, and it's going to be out on Netflix.
Of course.
I think they're giving it the Halloween treatment again, also where it's just going to be a sequel to the original and disregard everything else.
That'd be cool. I'd be happy with that. Because I knew nobody would say it, and because Sean said I have bad taste in movies. Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh.
Well, at least he didn't say Leprechaun in Space.
Those Leprechaun movies were great. Those are so bad they're good.
Right?
No, Leprechaun in Space is just bad. It's not even. I can't find any enjoyment in that one.
Leprechaun in the Hood is like the equivalent of Jason Takes Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Also a funny movie and an awesome movie.
Or Halloween H2O.
Is that the one with Busta Rhymes?
I think, right?
Yeah.
No, that's Resurrection.
Oh, Resurrection then.
Okay.
With the reality TV show one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I forgot to mention last week. I heard recently that that's one of those movies where it wasn't supposed to be a Halloween movie. Like it was already an existing script about like this reality TV show where there's like a killer in their house, and then they just like adapted it and made it the killer Michael Myers and made it a Halloween movie.
That's
oh, wow.
cool.
That's cool.
That's cool. I'm gonna go with Sean about scary, creepy things, and go with The Ring. But the Chinese version of The Ring, Ring You,
Yeah.
Okay.
fucking
Yeah.
creepy. I don't know why it's always creepier in a foreign language.
Those Japanese horror movies are on another level. And it was the same thing with The Grudge. Like the US Grudge was a remake of like the Japanese version. And there's something about like they're similar, but there's something about the Japanese versions that are just like darker and
Yeah,
they take the creep is on a whole nother level.
facts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna join Rob with saying Trick or Treat. Love that movie. Lights Out, but not the movie. The Facebook version of the movie.
That
It's
shit
like,
is terrifying.
Oh,
Right?
see, I never saw that.
What?
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw the movie. I don't know.
No, I never saw the movie. I saw the thing that Andy's talking about.
there's a short film that was on Facebook. Like I want to say like 2 years before the movie came out.
It's on YouTube. Go look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, send it to you guys. And like the person like is walking through the hallway and the light keeps shutting out and she runs in the bed and she's scared and then she turns her light out and then her light that's on the nightstand turns back on and she pulls the cover off of her face and it's like this like ghostly like ghoul like fucked up face looking person just staring at her like bedside like and then switch the light off. That's the end of the short. It's really good, but very creepy.
I want to be able to sleep tonight, so no thanks. It is.
And
It's not very
last
comforting
one,
watching my phone before I go to bed.
right? I'll send it to you before you go to sleep. The last one is Shaun of the Dead.
Right. Ooh.
That's a movie I didn't get when I first saw it. I didn't get it. I appreciate it more like over the years.
So good.
I love it.
So good.
Can I
Yeah.
add two more real quick?
Sure.
Well, Sean reminded me of one when he talked about little kids being creepy. What about Orphan? Anyone seen
Oh
Orphan?
my god!
Great,
I don't know.
great
Fucking
twist
weird.
ending that I won't give away for anyone who hasn't seen it. If you haven't seen it,
It's
go
been like
watch
15 years. It's been 15 years.
it.
I have a funny story about that. My coworker looks well when she puts her hair in pigtails. My old coworker looks exactly like the little girl from Orphan. And for like 3 weeks straight, that's all I called her. It's like, hey, Orphan, what's up? She's like, stop calling me that. Looks exactly like her. She hates it. She listens to the pod, so that one's for you. Told you.
Which
You know,
also this is another one. They're apparently making a prequel. It's going to be based on her when she kills the first family or whatever, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh really?
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
No.
that's like based on a true story where like some couple in like Ireland or somewhere like adopted a kid that turned out to be like a fucking like 25-year-old girl that had like some kind of like growth disorder or some shit. I mean, she didn't fucking kill the family, but you know.
And then the last one I want to throw in, this is for you, Andy, because you said we wanted to discuss this a little bit. This movie is definitely too new to go on any kind of top 5, top 10 or anything, but I saw this movie recently. Me and Sean both watched it. We had a discussion about it. This shit, I'm still not 100% sure if this movie was good or bad. I just know it was batshit and crazy. It blew my freaking mind. And we talked a little bit about James Wan. It's his latest movie, Malignant.
I haven't seen
That
it.
movie sucks so damn bad.
Rob, you need to go.
no.
You can't watch it right now because it's not on HBO Max anymore. When it comes back, you need to watch it.
And
we can't discuss this any further until Rob sees it. I'll say this about it.
We're gonna circle back to it on another episode after Rob watches it. Go ahead, Sean.
It's on Netflix, I think. I think it's still on Netflix.
I saw it a couple weeks ago.
You're cutting out,
What?
Sean.
What?
Andy was saying something. I thought I was cutting him out.
No, go ahead. Go.
No, you're
What?
good.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Sean. Talk.
Creating a bunch of editing for you guys right here.
We're live, pal.
Psycho Sean.
I saw it a few weeks ago, and people don't know how I feel about it 3 weeks fucking later. Because it kind of builds, and you don't know what direction it's going in. And it could be a few different things. It's only an hour and a half. I don't know. Is it 2 hours movie? It builds in a way that you don't say this to brag. Like, I jokingly kind of predicted it. You can ask Gina about that. We'll explain it another time. But it builds in a way that you don't know where it's going. We have a few ideas in your head. But then when everything actually happens and then it goes from there, it's just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yep. That's what I said the entire time while watching that movie.
I don't know if
I think in a good way though, but I'm still not sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I love it because of like the creativity and it hasn't necessarily been done before, or if it's just like so over the top absurd that it's like it's not fucking possible.
I'll tell you this, the movie's good for 5 minutes. Maybe 10.
I'll give it
Maybe
more than
10.
that.
Like, there's
What was
one part
that-
of the movie where it starts, and then it's good, and then the movie turns to shit again.
Rob, you gotta watch it, and we should do like maybe we should do a like an extra social media special, just talking about this movie for like 20 minutes.
Word.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll destroy it then, too.
All right. Well, we have been going for over 2 hours now. Might be longest podcast that we've done. That's okay. We had a lot of fun.
See, and you want to do a top 10.
I asked you what you wanted to do.
I know, but I said that's my 5.
That's how you get the starters in, bro. That's how you get your stage time. The draw.
Oh, word. Well, this was fun. Let us know what you think. I know some of the picks were a little ridiculous. Some of them were not ridiculous. Some of them were classics, and that's our opinion.
Some of them were very obscure.
Obscure,
okay,
yes.
too.
And if you decide to go out of your way to watch any of the movies listed, please let us know on socials. Tell us what you think. If you've seen this movie that they're talking about that I haven't seen, tell us what you think. Next week, Halloween is Sunday, right? We will be reviewing next week's Squid Game, the Netflix explosion, the #1 show on Netflix for the last 2 months. Squid Game.
Red light.
Still haven't even started it.
Green light.
Me neither.
All
All right,
This is-
spoilers.
It's in the trailer. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
spoiling anything. So, yeah, we'll go through all, I think, 9 episodes next week. Go in. At this point, there's a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff that we might have missed, and we'll kind of go in and break it down, and it's going to be full spoilers, boys, so you two haven't seen it, don't listen.
Good luck.
It's all right. I won't watch, listen, or support next week.
Damn.
I'll circle back to the episode after I watch it.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
as always, remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms, including YouTube. Thank you, Seany D. Thank you, Brent, for coming on. Hope you guys had fun. I'm Rob Zedano,
Oh, whoa, daddy. I'm Andy Vivians.
and we are out. Bye.